It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown, did he get it?
Welcome on in to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here. We've got Eric Frandsen in here as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
I am in here.
Yeah, we're both in here. Eric walking in slightly late, but that's what I used to do all for about a month as well. we take turns.
We take turns
being slightly late. Like there's always one of us that makes it in here on time. The question is, will both of us make it in here on time?
The great mystery, yes.
But those of you watching, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being on time yourselves. Those of you listening, not watching, listening on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
I'm watching out the window, and I actually see like the strange white stuff falling out of the sky.
Yeah, I don't know
what to make of this.
Yeah, that's a mystery, whatever that is.
I don't know.
But yeah, 1069thefan.com, the 1069 The Fan mobile app. That's where you can stream our show and also listen on our podcast feed, which is available in those same places, the website, the mobile app, and basically wherever you can get your podcasts.
Jason, big announcement, everybody. I hope you're listening. Big announcement. Today, we're going to be on the air for 2 full hours.
There we go.
This is big news. Because the last few days, if you're listening on the air live, you only get us for 27 minutes. But today, we're going to give you a full 2 hours. We're that dedicated.
Yeah, we are putting in the absolute grind. 2 whole hours of local sports talk here on The Fan.
Now, we did do, I know we were limited on our on-air portion of doing things because we had the Utah Mammoth. They're on an East Coast road swing. We'll have another day this week. Will be interrupted tomorrow, actually. But we had a lot to still talk about. So there's a lot of bonus audio on the podcast. So Monday, we went into greater detail about the Mountain West, rankings, standings, with what's going on with basketball. Yesterday, we talked about football transfers and things like that on the air, but then we went into greater detail about the future of the Pac-12 because there's news about that and maybe even some rumors about conference expansion, and so we discussed that in greater detail. So there's extra stuff on the podcasts from yesterday and on Monday that if you haven't listened yet, you might want to go back and find it.
Yeah, so for those of you who, you keep asking, like, what's the latest on the Pac-12? What's the latest on Mountain West as far as expansion? I mean, we didn't provide any, hard news, but there was a couple of different things, and we'll rehash a little bit of that today because there is some news going on with the Pac-12 this week. But we did go over that, our latest thoughts on what expansion will look like for both the Mountain West and for the Pac-12.
And some other schools in the Intermountain region.
Yeah. Was North Dakota State really in the Intermountain West region?
You're letting out secrets. Yes.
They're the Great Plains.
Well, I guess that's probably true. But there were some other schools in the Intermountain region that were connected.
That's true.
In that discussion.
There are a few of those. 7241 on the Young Power Sports text line saying, "Joke's on you, I'm still turning this off at 4:27 p.m.
It's become your schedule now.
We've ingrained it into our listener base. We are on for a short bit of time live, and then we do the podcast.
Yeah,
apparently that's what we've.
That's right.
We've ingrained into our listenership, but
that's what'll happen tomorrow too.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So this full week, just kind of set your watch by it. A lot to go over today. We've got Utah State taking on Wyoming. The Aggies back in action in basketball. It felt like it's been forever. They played on Friday. Then, you had the whole weekend, and I got focused on the NFL for a minute, and then, had Mountain West games yesterday, and the Aggies weren't playing. Of course, we'll go over some of those games as well. But now, after a bit of rest, the Aggies will take on Wyoming, a team that is itself coming off. Utah State was on a 2-game losing streak. Wyoming was on a 4-game losing streak. Both teams ended that in their most recent game. We'll dive into that in the second hour, as well as going over what's going on with the Mountain West as far as basketball games yesterday and today. But speaking of today and earlier this morning, Utah State announced something. It was something they teased yesterday, or kind of, I guess they teased yesterday because they did one of those cryptic tweets there wasn't really any caption or except maybe the eyeball emoji or whatever. Had a video of fans doing the Scotsman, singing the Scotsman, and
varying degrees of guesses that I saw, like, oh, what's it mean?
Yeah.
Because they just dropped the stuff about the jersey, the throwback jersey, like the day before. And so everyone's like, oh, is it another jersey they're going to drop? Like, what's the latest thing? This is so cryptic. What's next? Well, today it dropped.
Yeah,
it's much more than about a throwback jersey.
It's much more than a jersey. And it's not some like game-changing, altering, the course of Utah State history type thing. Maybe not necessarily worth an eyeball emoji, but it was a rather big announcement. It is something that is tied to Utah State's future and their entrance into the Pac-12. And it's an initiative. They call it the Show Me Initiative, which they're going to have to talk to Missouri about that.
Yeah, that's instantly what I thought of. Like, there's another state that has this slogan. They may have some fighting to do over this, but I mean, it makes sense. It's part of the Scotsman. It's part of the lyrics of the song, and really, it's also kind of and I really kind of appreciate it. It's like we've talked about different initiatives a lot in the past for Utah State athletics, but this is when it's like, okay, fans, like, time to put up or shut up. Like, we've talked about it. But we really want to walk the walk now. We want you to show me the money. Basically, it's that time. Like, there's a big move here for Utah State into the Pac-12. How ready are they really? Now, before Utah State got its invite to the Pac-12, Diana Sabo kind of launched the Reach and Rise campaign. Elizabeth Cantwell was kind of part of that. It was kind of an athletics and university kind of connected thing. And it sounded like it had some good ideas. And then just days later, they set off a nuclear bomb on all of those efforts by firing the coach, firing the deputy AD, firing another associate AD. And it was just, mayhem that just ensued for months after that. So it never really got off the ground. There were some pledges and some good ideas about, we might want to do this, but in actual terms of money coming in, there just wasn't much that happened because there was so much turmoil going on. Everybody's focus was on lawsuits and everything else. The dust of that has now settled. You've got Cam Walker here. They've got a new university president here, people with deep connections to this community, and at least to the general area and what makes sense. And so Cam Walker kind of made some allusions to this when he was introduced. And now that he's had his feet on the ground a little bit more, putting it in a little bit more substance to what he has in mind to help Utah State move into the Pac-12 and position themselves for the future.
Yeah, so let's dive into the details here of what this initiative is. And actually, I guess one thing I should actually do before we dive into this is kind of explain, you brought in the Reach and Rise campaign, and I actually had a chance to sit down and chat, or it was a phone call with Cam Walker yesterday to go over the stuff that they were going to announce today, or the stuff they did announce. And he explained like what's going on as far as, one of the things I asked, like, how does this tie in with the Reach and Rise campaign? Like, does it replace it, supersede it, go alongside it? What does it exactly do? And so here's what Cam had to say as far as explaining that particular aspect.
Yeah, so Reach and Rise is just a fundraising campaign, where this is really a modernization initiative. This is kind of in place of our strategic plan. In this world, as we talked about, do we do a 3-year, 5-year strategic plan? There didn't seem to be an end sight of something that would be 2 years beyond. Who knows what that looks like? So let's do short bursts of strategic thinking and planning in ways that are quick hitting initiatives. So the 6 month, let's get ready. But anything that goes towards Reach and Rise will count towards the Show Me initiative.
Yeah, sorry, I got to turn the mics on.
Yeah, so that kind of answers that in 5338 on the text line, Young Power Sports of Logan text line. It was asking that very question. Another fundraising drive for the agriculturalists. Is this on top of the one Diana Sabo launched?
Essentially, yeah. It basically builds on that because anything going toward the Reach and Rise, I'm sure there's still going to be some marketing and things with that. But this Show Me initiative does have fundraising aspects to it. And to be honest, if it was just fundraising, I don't know if I would pay all that much attention to this. I ended up writing, 2,000 words about this whole thing. And
if it was great detail.
Yeah, and if it was just a fundraiser, I would not have gone into nearly as much detail. But they reached out and shared a lot of different details and announced those details today. There is a fundraising aspect to this, and they have 6 month and 18th month goals. Of course, the Reach and Rise is like a 5-year thing.
Yeah.
So that's something
that's very ambitious.
Yeah, we're like a year and a half or something like that into a 5-year campaign. So there is some fundraising with Show Me, and that is, I think, $20 million they want to raise in the next 6 months, which is very ambitious, and then $42 million by the end of an 18th month period. The 6 month period basically ending at the end of July. That's what they're targeting as far as that's when 6 months happen for them. So there is just raw fundraising, cash and pledges. They want $42 million in cash and pledges by 18 months and $20 million by 6 months. But there are other things alongside that. A lot of it pretty much has to do with money, but it also kind of meshes with this idea of community engagement. They want the community involved. So there's a few other goals. They want to increase the number of sponsors they have for the athletic department. They want to increase their Blue A Society members, which is kind of your high up. You got to give $5,000 a year, and I think you have
with
to
a minimum of what?
I think you have to commit to 5 years.
5, okay.
Of 5,000. So basically, you're pledging $25,000 over 5 years. That gets you into the Blue A Society, and then there's the Big Blue Club membership, which is a little easier to get into. It's like $50 a year, I think. It's basically a once a year. A lot of that, I think, is I think you have to be a Big Blue to like even get season tickets or things like that.
And I'll be honest, I applaud these goals for connecting more people, and we haven't even got to the season tickets yet. But what surprised me about this is the relatively low number for the Big Blue Club, because the barrier of entry for that is so low. I get the Blue A Society.
For a high roller like you, $5,000 for a whole year. That's a lot for some of us.
For at least a 5-year commitment. Yeah, I get it. That's probably a smaller club.
So some of us plebeians can't afford that, Eric.
No, but the Big Blue Club, where it's all they're asking is $50 a year, and their goal in 6 months is to get that up to $1,800. That, honestly, of all the things that I looked at, that surprised me the most. I did not know those numbers were that small.
Yeah, and so they're the numbers that
small donors eventually become bigger donors.
Yeah, the numbers that they essentially gave to me, and I confirmed them with Cam Walker, just to be sure. But 80 sponsors of athletics. I'm sure these are approximate, but because it might be like 81 or 79 or something like that. But 80 sponsors, 100 Blue A Society members, 1,400 Big Blue Club members, and then 6,800 football season ticket holders.
Those are the numbers today.
Yeah, those are the numbers as of right now.
And so they're trying to get that up to 90, 135, and 1,800 respectively.
Yeah, and then 8,000 season ticket holders. That's their 6 month goal. At the end of this, they want to have 125 sponsors of athletics. That's a rise in 35? Hold on, the math doesn't match there. I might have. These are the numbers from them. So go from 80 to 125, and then double their Blue A Society members from 100 to 200. More than double their Big Blue Club membership to 3,000, and then have 10,000 football season ticket holders, which would probably come close to selling out your season ticket allotment. Maybe. I don't know how many season tickets they offer for a 25,000 seat stadium, but So essentially, those are the numbers. And if you want to see them, I put a lot of these numbers in table form on my article on Cache Valley Daily. It's a little easier to digest some of these numbers and some of these goals in that form as opposed to just reading them over the air. But essentially, they're targeting a lot of this engagement. And this, I think, is where it becomes a little different. And then some of the ways they're going about this is kind of what changes this, is that, sure, they want money, but the things with athletic sponsors, with some of these club memberships, with season ticket holders, they are trying to get businesses and fans, basically the community, involved here. They're not just walking around saying, please give us money. They want people to be part of this. They want your business's logo, to be shown at the football field. They want you to be, have a booth at the, or I don't know if they do booths at the football games, but they want season ticket holders. They want people, butts in seats, enjoying the games that they're putting out there on the field.
Well, one of the biggest things with season ticket stuff is that it creates a new baseline for your operating budget. Like, you're going to get this level of financial commitment this year. When this is your season ticket commitment walking into the year, then okay, well, these are the other things we can do to go chase some of the extra stuff. So increasing that level of commitment in the community for season ticket holders, it helps them create kind of a baseline budget, raise the floor there. But as you said, it also creates more opportunities for fans to be more engaged, be more connected, have a larger group of fans that you can rely on being there on a regular basis. And so this isn't just Cam Walker setting up a soapbox at the corner of the stadium and asking alms for the stadium. These are things that which we've seen before. We raise money because we got to pay for the big shiny new building. This is about we got to get more fans connected and the community more connected here, and from that raises a lot of other opportunities.
Yeah, and so a lot of this ends up targeting ticket revenue. I mean, aside from just the please donate to us more stuff, which, again, that is part of this. We can't.
Right. They're still asking that, and if you want to give that, they'll take it.
Yeah, but two things, and this is part of what begins to separate this from me, where it's not just a please give us money campaign, because those sometimes I roll my eyes and it's like, why are you why are you begging people for donations and calling it investments? Because sometimes that can get a little old. But the things with the tickets and sponsorship, and these are two areas where Utah State has fallen really far behind, because it does pretty well in other areas. It does, pretty well in terms of funding for like the means that it has. But when you compare these two specific areas, ticket revenue and sponsorships, they fall really far behind. I compared the numbers between them and the future Pac-12.
Yeah, and I should stop you. There were two things that stood out to me the most.
Okay.
The relative low number of Big Blue memberships, but also where does Utah State stand in comparison of its future Pac-12 members?
Yeah, because when you look at ticket revenue, they rank 7th of 8. And this is full-time members, so Gonzaga's not being counted here. They're 7th of 8 in ticket revenue. They make $2.7 million. This is according to the Knight Commission. This is the numbers that they have. And I think, to be honest, I think Cam Walker was working with these numbers too, based on my conversation with him. Because as he put it, nobody else will tell him what they're doing, which, fair enough. Nobody's divulging their plans to Cam Walker in their numbers. But
from other conferences,
from other
members.
Yeah, from other members in the conference. Like Utah State makes $2.7 million in ticket sales. To give you a reference, the Pac-12 average of these future members is $7 million, just a hair over $7 million. It gets as high as Oregon State, who was $13 million, and this is based off of fiscal year 2024. And then you look at sponsorships. This is corporate licensing, all that kind of fun stuff. Utah State ranks dead last, under $1 million.
Not even $1 million.
Yeah, when the Pac-12 average is $5.5 million. And pretty much everyone except for Texas State, the newest member to the club, is, everyone from Utah State and Texas State on up, they're making at least $4 million. So Utah State not even making $1 million, and everyone except for Texas State and Utah State is bringing in at least $4 million, as much as $10.5 million. And so Cam Walker, he talked about how these are two areas where they are underperforming, and that they need to address these areas.
In those two areas, it feels like we're underperforming. And we've got to it's easy to say go fundraise dollars, right? But in order for this to work, certainly we need to fundraise more, but it's got to be an all-in initiative if we're going to generate revenue. And so we have to look at sponsorships. We have to get more businesses involved. And that's why we're focused on sponsorships and ticket sales more on numbers than we are on the really dollar amount, because early on we felt like we've just got to get awareness about this and drive people to it and find where we can meet them to kind of bring them along. But yeah, those are two areas that we're underperforming as far as revenue generated out of those two areas.
And one of the real challenges for Utah State as far as ticket sales is, and will always be the case unless they do something drastic. And Diana tried that kind of underhanded and nobody saw it coming. It became quite a firestorm. Is just how many tickets Utah State gives to its student section. And students, like, they pay those fees. Like, they pay every opportunity. They're the student fees that are put on them, they have every right to take those seats. But when it comes to basketball in particular, it just, they're kind of hamstrung on how much revenue they can make with ticket sales.
We talk about, not doing well with ticket sales. Utah State's maxed, like this year, they've maxed out their ticket sales, at least theoretically, with season ticket sales. They've sold out. You can't get them. You can get some individual seats, at various games, but they've kind of maxed out their basketball revenue as far as ticket sales. But there's room to grow in football, and that's something they'll be targeting. We'll talk about that because you talk about, beg fans to come to football games, but the fans are like, I got to pay money, and Utah State is actually going to be throwing them a bone as far as making it easier to get to football games, at least as far as a price point. So we got to take a break, and so we'll get to that next here on the Full Court Press.
Now here's a concept. You earmark a third of your profits to go back into the community to local charities. Dex Imaging does that. My name is Nate Lamson, and I'd like to share with you what I know about the company that acquired Valley Office Systems. Dex Imaging is committed to continuing quality customer service on your copier, printer, or office solution while raising the bar to become a strong community partner. Visit deximaging.com. We think globally, but act locally.
Hi, I'm Emily Peterson, founder of Serenoni Luxury Blankets and Gifts. We started right here in Logan over 18 years ago, and what began as a way to help our daughter has grown into a local business that still does everything right here in Cache Valley, from designing to shipping to our shop that's open to the public. Our blankets are made with purpose and care. They're comfort, connection, and home. Serenoni, born in Logan and made for the moments that matter. Come shop our store on 10th West, right next to iFit in Logan.
Retirement. Are you ready? Adams Wealth Advisors specializes in preparing you for a secure retirement. There's no reason to feel frustrated. The team at Adams Wealth will create a personalized plan that includes timing of retirement, reliable income sources, Social Security, estate planning, and more. Adams Wealth Advisors has a team of CPA, certified financial planners, Social Security experts to help you plan and retire with confidence. Call today, 752-1702, or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com. Your dream retirement starts here.
Winter's here, and that old car sitting in the driveway isn't getting any warmer. Turn that frozen junker into cold hard cash with DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. It's never too cold, too wet, or too late to clean up and cash out. DD Auto and Salvage makes it quick and easy. They'll even pick it up for you. Get the most money possible for junk vehicles or scrap metal. Clear it out. Get the cash today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. And let DD Auto and Salvage pay you today. DD Auto and Salvage. Cold cars turned into hot cash.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome on back to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Eric Frandsen on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Streaming online at 1069thefan.com. And if you want to be part of the show, text 435-339-0321. That's our Young Power Sports of Logan text line. And we're talking about the most exciting thing in the world, fundraising for the local university. And one thing that
raising community involvement.
Yeah. And that's a big part of this because, as I said kind of early in the show, if this was just a fundraising thing, like with Reach and Rise, I didn't think too much of it. Like, and they even reached out to me saying, hey, do you want to go down to, I forget even where they were having. It was somewhere down in the Wasatch Front.
Yeah, it was down in Salt Lake.
Although, funnily enough, I was down in like Taylorsville that weekend, but I was at a wedding, so I wasn't necessarily thrilled about going to some ballroom event and talking with the AD. But in this case, Utah State reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to announce this thing soon. You want to talk to Cam Walker about it? And I was like, yeah, sure. It's like the biggest thing about this is what Utah State is doing, not just to beg people for money, which is, again, it's a little annoying that universities keep having to do that, keep begging people for money to pay their already overpaid, staff and players in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. But the amount of community outreach, and again, this goes to, I didn't bring up the story about them reaching out to try and brag. It's just like they are reaching out to the community because that's us, that's the fans. They are reaching out. They reached out to like all the different media to get this out and to be able to tell the story, be transparent, say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. And there are aspects where I was like, hey, this is kind of, cool that you're doing this. The most particular one is we talk about season tickets. Last year, they raised the ticket prices. They said, all right, we need to raise money, so prices are going up. Well, to some degree, they're reversing course on some of those.
Well, and sometimes in doing that, it's a net negative because then you price people out, and then instead of coming like they like to, they're like, well, I can't afford to come anymore. So you want to raise money, but fewer people are buying those tickets. So they're just squeezing the people that are already there even more. But what this is trying to do is provide more opportunities for people to get there.
Yeah, they want to get as many season ticket holders as possible, and they are going to do what they can. They're not just going to say, hey, come to us, come buy the season tickets, please, please, please. It's hey, we're going to make it easier for you to get season tickets, part of that being price. And so that was something that Cam Walker, I think he pretty much brought up on his own, because I think, I brought up how are you going to get more season ticket holders? And he brought up some of these things on his own while answering that, including talking about the price for season tickets as well as kind of the get-in price for single game tickets as well.
We have to make the environment, which I think we're committed to do, elite. And I think it was a pretty good environment, but we also have to get people there as like a first time come so that they see, man, this is really fun. And this is a family environment. I can bring my kids. I can, and make sure that we've got price points for every level. So on the south end zone and the Upper East Side, we're going to be doing some repricing with the stadium this year. And those areas are going to be as affordable as ever as far as season ticket prices. Get-in price will be less than $100 for a season ticket. So to get 6 games for less than $100, that'll be the lowest get-in price in the league and one of the lowest in the country. But we felt like that was the right thing to do for this community as we try and build a fan base and get some of our younger families to be able to have an access point to it. But I think we've also got to provide just an incredible experience and environment. TV is really, really good nowadays. And so we've got to make it so that you're missing something else, not just seeing the game.
So you mentioned the season tickets for the South End coming in under 100. Are single game tickets going to be obviously they might be a little more expensive than buying in bulk there, but are they going to be a lot? Because I think they were like $40 or so, maybe $30 for like certain deals, but is expected to be similarly lower?
Yeah, I think for some of those areas that we're not filling up, certainly. And then in the areas that are kind of premium, higher end areas, and we have wait lists, then we may increase in those areas. Yeah,
so I mean, it's not a universal price decrease because, the ones that, it's supply and demand. Yep. They're basically obeying the laws of supply and demand. There are seats that people want to buy, and those premium seats, you might see a price increase. But for those seats that are sitting empty game after game after game, they're just going to say, look, we're not going to, an empty seat is $0.
Right. So,
and of course, some of the seats that are being bought, they're going to make less money on some of those just by lowering the price in those sections overall. But the get-in price being under $100, like what, 6 games for $100, that like what, $15 ish per ticket?
That'd be 20.
20.
But I guess
that's for 5
games. Yeah,
for 5
6.
games it'd be 20, and 6
Yeah,
it's between 15 and 18. I don't know
but
what the math
as
is,
you
but
kind of mentioned in your follow-up, this is mostly like south end zone type areas.
Yeah.
Maybe on the upper east side. So there are areas where they know they don't fill as regularly, and they hear it. Like one of the biggest complaints is like if you've got a family that you're trying to get to the game, or you're on a fixed income, ticket prices price you out, and you can't come, or you can't bring your kids with you. Not all of them, and so Utah State is trying to listen to its fans and provide opportunities for them to get there. Because if you go to some games, you're probably going to buy a drink, grab a snack, a hot dog, whatever. You're going to get some food while you're there. You might pay for some parking. Like your kid's going to be. It's more likely that you create generational fans if you get people in the building. Because he's right. TV, it's super easy to enjoy a game at home. You got a bathroom right there. It's comfortable. You can get your own beverage whenever you want. You don't have to wait in line. But Utah State's trying to create unique opportunities and a unique atmosphere so that you feel like you want to be at the game in person with other fans cheering on your favorite team.
Yeah, and if you bring fans to the game, like if people are like, hey, look, there are people who maybe don't go to the games as much, but they're like, hey, the team's kind of doing good this year, and tickets are, $25-$30 each for the cheap seats. And they go to the game, and then if you're putting butts in the seats, those are people who are going to be more invested. Then you're more likely to be in the big blue club, because, again, that's kind of a smaller jump there. And then long-term, you can create the kind of fans who eventually they have the kind of money to be in the Blue A Society and to be more, significant donors there. So they're basically just trying to create an access point for anybody. Like, you want to be part of the Aggies? We've got different levels for you to be. If you can't donate, but you can buy 6 game tickets for $100, then yeah, come on in. And, if you're a family who's not been able to buy any season tickets, then you can buy, 2 or 3 to take you, spouse, and a kid. If you are someone who is already only able to afford 3 sets of season tickets, because they were $168 at their cheapest last year, well, now you can add a couple more. Like you can buy, 4 or 5 sets, take the whole family for pretty much every single game. Yeah. Or it just alleviates some of the financial strain anyway, because that could be helpful for a lot of people too. So this is the thing that I really like, is that it's not just about please give us money, though there is still that. It is an aspect of community outreach to the fans and making some of these tickets cheaper. And also wanting businesses involved. Like, however a business can get involved, if you can only give $1,000 in a sponsorship, we'll take it. If you're in Cache Valley, they want you to be an Aggie and they want you to be involved. They'd like you to be involved massively and give tons of money. That's kind of their preference. But at the very least, they want to get the whole community involved. And so that's the positive I see from this, where this is much more, or at least can be viewed as much more about community than it is about pure, cynical, question morals and philosophies of sports in a society type of, just begging for money. It can be a little bit more, because it's supposed to be about community. That's why you give money to a local university, because it's not an investment. You don't, Cam Walker talked about investment and ROI. He used those buzzwords all over this interview. But it's not that. You don't get ROI donating to the university. You don't get anything back for investment. You don't get dividends.
No.
So this is about community. And so if you can believe in that, then that's what this is. Again, this is about community. It's about when the Aggies are having a fantastic basketball season. It's seeing everyone wearing Aggie blue and have a pep in their step walking down Main Street.
And about, gosh, who's got tickets? I need to be there.
Yeah.
Is anybody not using their tickets? Because if you're not using them, man, let somebody else get in. By the way, speaking of Cam Walker, he just went to social media here recently, just within the last 5 minutes. Huge shout out to Aggie Nation. Excited to announce another sellout for tonight's men's basketball game against Wyoming, tying a program best 6 sellouts in a season. Thanks for showing us your commitment to Utah State athletics.
Yeah.
So yeah, the the commitment is growing, certainly, and the excitement is real for basketball, but they're trying to build on some of that momentum. Now, to that, text coming in from 3714 on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. 2 questions. Didn't Cam Walker recently go before the students seeking more student funds for athletics? And 2, after a recent basketball loss, maybe it was against UNLV, Coach Calhoun was frustrated and said something like, we need revenue sharing. We need more money to get another big. Are the coaches going to be provided with revenue sharing money?
Yeah, so to answer both questions, the first one, yes, it was the student fee board or something like that. They were looking to potentially raise student fees, and Cam Walker went and made a presentation. Funnily enough, teased this very announcement in that student fee. Didn't provide any specifics, but when Utah State reached out and said, hey, we're announcing something soon and we want to talk to you, I was like, oh, it was that thing that Cam Walker talked about in the student fee board.
Just a few days ago, Utah Statesman has an article about it, but it was for campus rec, athletics, and a few other things.
Yeah, looking to, get more student fee money. Because we talk about how many spots they're given to the student section. That's money they don't get. And, well, again, this is all about money. So we're not going to say that they're not trying to milk as much money out as much as they can where they can find it. But that's kind of one way where they're looking to maybe generate more revenue is through student fees. Like it or not, that's something they're looking to do. For the second question, the revenue sharing, my understanding is that they are actually, I think I didn't clip it because I think I asked Cam Walker about this and I didn't clip it. Essentially, it is starting to roll. They're starting to do that. For basketball, I don't think they really had any for this season, but they're expecting to have it moving forward. I know Coach Calhoun's been a little frustrated that he's had to do a lot more with a lot less. Like, Utah State does not rank particularly well in terms of money spent on their basketball roster, but it's expected to improve.
Yeah, and just a little point of clarification: revenue sharing is meant to go to the athletes, not to the coaches.
Well, he's saying the coaches to use that. I think that's what 3714 meant.
It's not supposed to go to the coach's salary, but it goes for coaches to use for NIL,
essentially let the coaches use that revenue sharing money for the athletes. I think that's how I was interpreting 3714's text.
Reviewing the article, the student fee increase for athletics would be a little more than a $29 raise in fees, which would bring the total student fee to $145 per student.
Goodness gracious, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a big ask.
How many students are at
Because the biggest contributor to Utah State athletics is the institution.
It's
the second biggest contributor to Utah State athletics, student fees.
Yeah, Utah State actually ranks fairly high, I think, in both of those, in institutional support and their student fees. Like you talk about how they rank fairly low in ticket sales and sponsorships. They rank pretty well in those other areas. Though in total revenue, they actually still rank pretty low. So this is about Utah State trying to get out from basically where they're toward the bottom. Like the only two members of the future Pac-12 that they are above in overall revenue, according to the Knight Commission, is Gonzaga, who's a partial member, and Texas State, who's coming from the Sun Belt. Everyone else they're behind. They're only like barely behind Fresno State, but they're way behind programs like I think Utah State's like $55 million, Colorado State's in the mid 60s. I think Boise State's in the high 60s, low 70s. San Diego State's in like the 90s. And then Washington State and Oregon State, their numbers are going to go down, but they're like around $100 million each. And so Utah State, and this is another thing I asked Cam Walker. And again, I only had time to clip like 7 or 8 different things, but he was basically wanting the Aggies to go from basically toward the bottom and have their first step be to try to get to 4th or 5th in that range. Basically go from bottom of the pack in total revenue to the mid pack, and then obviously, they won't necessarily be satisfied with that, but they'll go from there, essentially. They've set goals of 6 and 18 months.
Right.
They're not going to be planning these lofty, take over the Pac-12, generate as much revenue as programs like, BYU and Utah.
No, but think about it. It's 6 months, gets you to the start of joining the Pac-12. 18 months gets you to the end of your first full year as a member of the Pac-12.
Yep.
So that's why those those goals, those dates, that time range exists to get Utah State ready for joining and beginning its time in the Pac-12, and then where is it going to be? Where do they want to be at the end of its first full year as a Pac-12 member?
Yeah. 5338 saying USU is notorious for milking its students for athletics budget far more than any other school in the state, and there's no opt-out if you don't attend games. It's time to stop that.
Yeah, that's true. If you're a fine arts student, or if you're somebody that's has zero interest in athletics,
who says fine arts can't?
I'm just throwing it out.
I had a brother
there.
who was in like the fine arts because he's a music major, and he loves Aggies.
Throwing out random.
Eric hates fine arts people.
Random colleges, College of Education, whatever. If you're not really into athletics, but you're going to Utah State, you're paying for it whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Like if you're not an active member of the herd, you're still paying as if you are an active member of the herd.
Yeah, and that is one of the things. Like it's uncomfortable to talk about how much like Utah State is an academic institution. They're spending $20+ million to subsidize their athletic department. The students, who I've repeatedly called the most financially exploited class in America, and we're going to make it $29, but like all the other
it's a $29 increase. Yeah,
increase, and so $149, $29 more dollars than they were already paying. Like that's not massive, that's like, a small grocery run for milk and bread and whatnot. But so it's not crazy, but again, you're milking the students who don't have a choice, and you're taking away money from their academic institution that they're paying. So some of their tuition is going to it as well, and student fees. That's not something that I'm necessarily okay with.
Yeah.
And it's funding.
I totally agree.
And another thing that Cam Walker was talking about in that thing was like how, all this money like you're giving to us, and it's going to go to these student athletes for nutritionists. And it's like, so my student fees, not I say mine, but like the student fees are going so that some student athlete who's making actual money from the university can have another perk.
Right. Has access to more stuff than I have.
Yeah. Like they don't get to go use the North End Zone complex to work out. They don't.
And I don't get nutrition and dietary stuff like they get.
Yeah,
I don't get access to a gym like they have.
Yeah. That's the uncomfortable side of all this is, again, it's why there's the aspect of, they're begging for more money so they can give more perks and have fancier stuff for, 18, 19-year-old athletes. But unfortunately, that is the world we live in, and that is the nature of entertainment.
Yeah, I know we need to hit a timeout here, but quick from text from 9315. The new athletic director is on the right track in making game-challenging moves, not challenging, game-changing, game-changer type moves.
Yeah. Yeah, they are trying to change the game. Like Utah State has been known for doing more with less, and now they're trying to do more with a little bit more than less.
Well, and a conference move, that's a big reason to launch this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a new building they're trying to fundraise for. They're not renovating the stadium. This conference move, that's the impetus to help kind of launch a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. And like Utah State last year made the tournament as the lowest funded roster of any at large. That's what they're doing with basically no money. Imagine Jared Calhoun if he has a little money to play with. The rest of the league might have to watch out. We're going to take a break. We'll be back after this talking more Aggie and local sports here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 5th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Master Auto Tech delivers honest, reliable auto repair and maintenance from certified technicians who put customers first. From routine service to major repairs, they're committed to quality work and clear communication. With 22 Utah locations, including Logan, Brigham City, and Ogden, there's always a Master Auto Tech nearby. Master Auto Tech, expert care, local service, and confidence you can trust.
Your trusted, helpful expert, Master Auto Tech. Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Medicare can seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Let us help. We'll answer all your questions and get you specific information that fits your needs. Medicare is not one size fits all. We'll help you find the right coverage for you. Call 752-9493. You can ignore the TV and the junk mail. We'll get you the exact information you need. We will help you access the benefits that are important to you. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493.
You're on your way to work when that little light pops on. The one that says, hey, you need service. But who has time to sit in a waiting room? West Motor Ford will pick up your vehicle from home or work, service it, and bring it right back. Pickup and delivery are completely free within a 35-mile radius. That's anywhere from Malad to Montpelier, Hiram to Tremonton. Plus, get $25 off any repair over $250. Schedule your free pickup and delivery at westmotorford.com or call 208-852-3853.
The world needs more heroes, more action-oriented do-gooders, more here's how I can help right-hand men and women. The world of sarcoma is no different. And if you're thinking, what is sarcoma? We're glad you're listening. Sarcoma is a rare cancer of the body's soft tissue and bone, a cancer affecting tens of thousands of Americans every year. A cancer that has more than 70 subtypes, many of which require unique treatment options at various stages of discovery, and we lose thousands of lives to sarcoma in the U.S. on a yearly basis. The Sarcoma Foundation of America partners with heroes, do-gooders, and helpers from all walks of life to advocate for sarcoma patients through funded research and widespread awareness efforts. New and more effective sarcoma therapies are out there. We just need to work together to discover them and find a cure for this cancer once and for all. Now is the time to step up and fight the good fight against sarcoma. Join forces by visiting curesarcoma.org to learn more.
Breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Eric Frandsen. If you want to join the show, you can do so via the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, 435-339-0321. And one thing we want to get to, we have a short segment. We went long on a couple of segments. So I wanted to play at least one clip. We were talking about, when we started talking about the kind of the downsides and some of the uncomfortable topics about milking the community for more money, milking the student population. The one thing I asked Cam Walker about, I was just like, hey, you worried about burnout? Like, you just keep asking for money, You worried about people kind of getting burnt out on this? And I asked it kind of after a different question where I was like, people worried about athletics departments overspending. But here's kind of what he had to say just about potential burnout and maybe trying to avoid that kind of burnout with fans and with donors to avoid having people turn away from athletics because of how much of a money game it's become.
I think it's about vision and it's about accountability. I think that we have to share the vision for what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. While a lot of institutions are separating themselves from the academy and having athletics kind of go its own way, we are committing more to the academy and being more connected with our regular student base and more connected with academics. And so I think it's about sharing that vision. And then also holding ourselves accountable, but also being transparent and accountable to our fan base about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and why they should invest with us and why they should, because it's really about investment. Do you want to invest in this vision and where we're going? And if they do, then they should be on board and should understand how we're different. But certainly from a blank state, I get why there would be questions and I get why there would be concern from donors and fan bases in general all across the country. And they have a right. It's their money. They have a right to ask those questions. And I think as administrators and those in college athletics, we need to answer those. And if we can't answer them in a satisfactory way, then people will choose to go elsewhere.
Yeah, so there's an aspect where it's like, I like a lot of that where it's like you got to be responsible. Like he acknowledges this is people's money. They get to do with it what they want, and they want to be transparent. And that's part of why I liked what he did with trying to reach out and be transparent. He reached out to me, he reached out to the Herald Journal, reached out to, the Des News and all that, trying to be as transparent as he can to explain, because they could have just put all this out there and said, here's our list, here's our goals. But no, he came out and said, here's, through a bunch of different media interviews, say, hey, here's what we're doing. We're being transparent. This is what we're trying to do. We're lowering ticket prices. Some may still go up. He's not trying to make it all, puppies, kittens, and roses and all that. There are some things where, we're going to be asking for more money, but we're also trying to make it easier for fans. We need to take another break here. When we come back, we're actually going to have Pick 6 results. It's time for us to be transparent about how good we are at doing our job, predicting things that happened, things that did happen over the weekend. So we'll get to that next here on the Full Court Press.
It's ski season, Cache Valley. This is Mark at the Sportsman, where we mount bindings. If you need bindings mounted to your skis or snowboards, in most cases, we can do it in 48 hours or less. That's right, 48 hours or less. At the Sportsman, we can also tune, sharpen, wax, and repair your skis or board so they are ready for the season. Usually, we can get those done in 48 hours as well. For 73 years, we have been taking care of skis and boards only at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan, with tons of parking in the back.
Hey, it's JD here, and with the new year comes that familiar feeling of wanting a fresh start. We all make resolutions: eat better, be healthier, do better, but for some, the resolution that matters most is getting sober. That's why I want to tell you about Renaissance Ranch. They specialize in a faith-based, clinically proven addiction recovery. They know what it takes to break free for good. Call or visit renaissanceranch.net and make this the year that addiction no longer controls your story. Renaissance Ranch: hope, healing, and recovery.
If you're coming to Logan and want a real value near USU, this is it. Say Aggie 79 and stay at the Baum Motel for just $79 a night. Right in downtown Logan, you'll find clean, spacious rooms and the kind of friendly service that keeps people coming back. Free continental breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and seasonal outdoor pool, all without paying big city prices. $79 rooms with Aggie 79 at the Baum Motel. Call 435-752-5220. That's 752-5220 and lock it in today.
Express your love for her this Valentine's Day by presenting a piece of diamond jewelry from S.E. Needham Jewelers. Diamond jewelry makes a woman feel cherished. A pair of beautiful diamond earrings will add to the sparkle in her eyes. Adorned in diamond earrings, she will feel elegant and appreciated. Choose from a large selection of quality diamond earrings, all specially priced for Valentine's Day. Remember, diamonds from S.E. Needham's will be noticed from across the room, and everyone will know she's yours. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Snow and black ice are here to stay for a while. If your tires aren't ready, neither is your vehicle. At Express Auto and Tire, they work with all vehicles and all tire sizes, making winter traction and safety their top priority. Name brand tires are always less at Express Tire. As a Point S Tire location, you're backed by a nationwide warranty. Get winter ready with no appointment needed. 3200 North Main.
Express Tire, tires for less.
Where tires and service come together.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
At Napa Auto Parts, they've got batteries, headlights, wiper blades, all in stock and on sale. They got Chemical Guys car wash and detailing kits for $49.99. Pick up the last bags of Blue Heat ice melt for $10. Now that we finally got snow, you're going to need that ice melt. Air freshener, snow scrapers, shop towels, seafoam, and more. Again, all on sale at your locally owned Napa stores. From Preston all the way down to Providence, they've got locations. We got to get through Pick 6 results really quick. We've only got about 2 minutes here. So let's get into this real quick, starting with the lines that I set. Utah State and Colorado State combined three-pointers made in their matchup on Friday. I took the under on 16.5. Eric, you took the over. They made 15 combined, 5 by Utah State, 10 by Colorado State. Drake May, total yards, 235.5. We both took the over, and Drake May very much went on the under in that Blizzard game, or for like third.
Wow, yeah, way under.
Yeah, 151 total, 86 pass, 65 a rush. So we both miss on that. So I'm still up 1-0. Keontae George, points against San Antonio. I think it was on Thursday. I took the under on 23.5 points. Eric, you took the over. Keontae George had 23 points. So the under barely hits.
Man.
So I'm up 2-0 going into the lines that you set. New Mexico, 3-pointers attempted against Nevada last weekend. You set the line at 27.5. I took the under. You took the over. New Mexico attempted 28.
Wow, these were close lines.
These were pretty good lines, although we'll go to this one. Who would have more passing yards?
Oh, yeah.
Drake May or Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford had more than 4 times the passing yards that Drake May did, though Drake May has a win and he's in the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford does not.
Stats don't mean everything.
Yeah, Stafford had 374 yards to Drake May's 86. So we both took Stafford. So it's 3-2 going into this final line. Combined assists by Keontae George and Isaiah Collier against Miami. You set the line at 15.5. I took the over. You took the under. They combined for 14. Wow. So we got to go to a tiebreaker.
Ooh, okay.
And it was Seattle minus 2.5 over the Rams. Seattle won by 4. You picked the Rams, and that left me with the Seahawks. So I win on the tiebreaker.
Oh, man. That was close.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of good lines, and it was close. That was probably one of our better pick sixes. We weren't all right on 100%, but we had some pretty good lines.
They're very close, yes.
That's going to do it for us here in the first hour. We'll be back previewing Utah State as they're taking on Wyoming tonight in the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum. Keep it tuned.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Bill Belichick not being a first-ballot Hall of Famer is a decision that's going to demand serious explanation. He won 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, built a dynasty, has more playoff wins than any other coach in NFL history, and stepped away from the league second on the all-time wins list. By every reasonable standard the Hall of Fame claims to value, this should have been a mere formality. Instead, reports indicate the Patriots' past scandals weighed against his candidacy. Deflategate, a game the Patriots won 45-7. Spygate, alleged illegal filming of a regular season opponent, the Jets of all teams, is now the deciding factor in keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. Well, temporarily. The precedent was already set with Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and against that backdrop, this omission feels less like principle and more like selective outrage. Delaying his induction doesn't protect that mission. It just smells of sour grapes. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.
I am dedicated. I am TNT.
With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so